Hello and welcome. Just let me get the car turned around, hang on. There we go. Hello and welcome to this 4-part series of The Crew Review. My god, how could that sound any more cheesy? Today I'm going to take you through the visuals as I explained in a kind of out way last episode in the squeaky voice. Right, to be honest, since you probably couldn't understand any of that, I'm going to quickly get on with that while I'm just driving down this long road. Pardon me, I've got the burps. Had that drink I was talking about earlier. Now, what I'm going to do is in the next 3 weeks now, it's 3 weeks from now, so including this episode, I will be doing 2 other reviews of The Crew. Now, the 2 other bits will be just the other 2 parts of a review that I usually do. Sorry, I just had a complete blank there, it's driving me mad. Today I'm doing visuals, next week I'll be doing gameplay, and the week after that I'll be doing the story and the summary, so it's just nice and simple really. Only reason why I'm doing this is because I need a bit of a break and my work is piling up on me as it is, so I just need a couple of early night weekends so I can just go to sleep, because I'm whacking these out every weekend on the dot. Weirdly enough, for some strange reason, I don't do both episodes in one sitting. So I don't do the squeaky episode and then do the review and then have the next week off. Somehow I just work get it out every Sunday. Hey ho. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about the visuals of The Crew. Now, this game has to be among my top 10 for its look. Now, I'm not going to be able to rabbit on this entire episode about how it looks, but the shading, the environment, the cars, the change of environments, the variety of environments. Yes, I know it's the American landscape, and yes, I know I don't like the Americans, but I'm not going into that. I like the American countryside. I love it. It looks amazing. I want to go there just to sample it. So we're going to go through one of the more changeable areas of the game. It's the mountain states, and in the mountain states you have salt flats, you have deserts, you have a bit of a forest just before you hit the snowy region. Now, that's why I thought that this episode would be the best to show you the look of the game. So at the moment we're going through a small town, looks average, you get people walking about and other cars driving by. Now, usually in these sorts of games with other cars and other things in them, you get... oh, bugger. Hang on. You get other cars that aren't as detailed as yours, so you notice which ones aren't other players and you. But actually, as you end up driving, you realise in this game they aren't as less detailed as they have been in other games, like Need for Speed. Any of the Need for Speed games, you notice the difference between an NPC car and your car. The NPC cars, like the pedestrian cars I mean, are always like duller, they look a bit weird, they look less detailed, whereas yours looks like the cream of the crop, best car ever. The other player cars also have another thing, is that when you notice this as you play the game, is you notice they look remarkably as detailed as yours, so they're not going to change in any way. Also, I do like the clever idea where they've used I don't like the fact that they haven't used convertibles. I like the idea of a convertible car in America where people like to live free. Hey ho. I like the way that the only thing I like about it is how they've gotten a way to use the character, because usually in any racing game your character remains faceless, so then you can just have the car and you can see inside from any view, so anyone can look inside your car. Whereas in this game, other people can't see you inside the car, so they can't see Alex Freeman in the car. Instead what they see is just blank windows, black windows, so you can't see in at all. It's just like a sheet of black. I find that clever, but at the same time it's limiting, because that feature in the Uplay store, you get is like an interior design, so you can choose the interior of your car. What's the point if other people can't see it? Now, then you get into the scenery. As I said, is that the scenery is so plentiful in this game. As in, I've just driven from a desert and now I'm on a rocky cliff face. And again, the environment does affect what you see and what you do on the game. I mean, Jesus, the amount, I'm driving my car down a desert path and it's not supposed to really do this sort of thing. Sorry, I'm just going to completely interrupt myself. I was hoping this was going to happen soon, but the rain on this game is exquisite. I have never seen rain on a game like this before. Quote from Vault Legend, "I'm going to go into first person now because it's about to rain." Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not that big, so hopefully we'll come across something where it's a bit more than that. But yeah, basically, Vault Legend, not a big fan of this game, once said that he was just driving around with us as a crew, in our little crew, and we were driving around, and he usually uses third person mode, but actually in the event of the rain coming down, he wanted to go into first person just to see it, which is fair enough. Now, going back to what I was saying, is the environment does affect what your car does, which I like, which is a bit of gameplay, so I'm not going to go into too much of it, but the fact that the car isn't supposed to drive around on certain surfaces is what I kind of like. Now, as I was saying, it's very, very, very changeable, this environment. So the environment visuals are amazing. I mean, they change really well. I mean, it is scary how much they can do it, because usually in games you have like a gulf, almost like the space in between the two extremes. You got empty nature, so desert, forest, jungle, snowy mountain, and then you've got the city. And usually you have a gap in between them where there is usually some kind of, you see a couple of houses, like a little village just on the outskirts of the town, and then you get the full-on nature. Now in this game it just changes, but also it does it gradually at the same time. But it's almost like it's like on Movie Maker, where you have your volume of certain things, so whether you fade it out fast or fade it out slowly. In this, it fades it out fast because you don't notice it, but you will notice that there is a slow gradient of change as you're going up country. So I'm heading slowly north, as you can see by my compass. I'm heading up north all the way to the top because that's where I want to end the video. And as you're heading there, you'll notice that as I'm going up, it's getting more and more and more and more cluttered as it's going along. So it was a desert, and now it's getting like trees and motorways, and it's getting full, it's getting cluttered. But that's not a problem for me because I like the way it looks. Now, environment. I'll get to environment when we get to a new biodome, biosphere. Right. Next, the cars. The cars on this game, inside and out, are amazing. I mean, I'm driving one of my favourite cars of all time, the GT500. Now, when I first got the game and discovered you could go into first person mode and discovered I could actually drive in the game with first person mode, I decided that... Oops. Oh. I decided that I was going to... the first car I wanted to get was the GT500. I was hoping you could get it in this game, and you could. I'm so happy you can, because I'm now driving my favourite car in the entire world in first person mode, in the interior I want, and have the exterior I want to see. So I've got the Eleanor style from Gone in 60 Seconds, with the Go Faster Racing stripes on the going up, going across the along the car. I've got red leather dashboard with a wooden steering wheel, and it looks gorgeous to me. I mean, if I went into like third person mode or first person mode, you just notice the difference. It looks like the actual thing. I mean, according to some reports I've heard about how they made this game, they actually went around and they sat in every single one of the cars and tested each one. Why did they test each one? Simple, because they wanted to hear what it sounded like and actually see what it felt like inside the car, so they could get it absolutely right. And I'm sorry to say this, Ubisoft have a knack for getting the good details in. I mean, they can do it with anything. I mean, they've done it with Assassin's Creed, so they've done Florence in Renaissance period, all the way to Istanbul, then keep on going, and you get to like the colonial war, no, the golden age of pirates, and then of course you've got crew. They've mapped out the entire country, used all these roads exist in real life. Of course, Americans would know this, and of course some British people, basically most people will know this if they've been to America. But as I said, this research, they went in depth with this, so in visual wise, I don't think any of the most of these trees are probably not in the right places and that sort of thing, but it doesn't really matter to me. Is that they've managed to get the visual, the world all correct, the cars are all correct. As I was saying, the cars are perfect. I mean, just what you saw there, the random events that happen in this game, they're not like in Fallout or in Skyrim where random events actually affect you. In this game, it's just like a thing you see. So I just spotted there a stealth fighter flying across. Now the look of that, you're not supposed to have a sound with that, because that's meant to be one of the creepiest things about the stealth bombers, is they're meant to be silent and glide across the skies if they aren't there. The whole point of a stealth bomber, funnily enough. But that's the point, is that bomber flying across like that is just quite eerie as you're driving in the middle of a I think I'm in Nevadan desert maybe, I don't know. It'll pop up in the corner in a minute when I wasn't paying attention as to exactly where I am right now. Also, there's another thing, is that it also comes out of the game. For example, if someone's trying to invite you to their crew, you can you'll hear noise come out of your controller, but that's technically not what I'm going to say. The main thing is, the actual cool thing is with your controller when you're playing this game, is that when you've got cops after you, you've got the lights flashing on the sides of your screen if they're really close to you, but you've also got on your controller there is a red and blue light that flashes. Yeah, I know it's like kids play with the usual, these games, but the thing is though, I don't care. It's actually really nice to have that kind of feature on there. I mean, it's not often you get a game where, well, PS4 games tend to do it all the time, but the thing is though, is that I just like that. It's a cool feature, to be honest. Yeah, it is a nice feature. Right, now I know it's going to sound like I'm rambling or anything, but another thing I like about the visuals of this game is the sky. Whenever you turn direction, there's always something new to get. They get the glare of the sun absolutely perfect, and even the reflections and the, oh shit. See, this is what you get for rambling. So yes, as you're driving along, doing whatever you're doing, I really hate it when my game glitches out. There's also another problem with this game, is you get a bit of lag, but that's gameplay. That was a bit of lag right there. Right. They get the reflections, they get their glares perfectly right, they get the shadows right. So as you're going along, if I wanted to, I could press the start button. I'm not going to, but I could press the start button, check the time, and find out when midday is, or oh, here we go, third person mode, as I was trying to say. See, that car, yes, I know it's a little bit dinged and dented, looks perfect to me. It looks like an actual GT500 because of the way they built it. The lights work, the suspension's bouncing around, and yes, okay, I've dinged it a few times, but the best thing is though, is that because it's dinged, you can actually see how the parts all break apart. And see. And another nice thing about this game is that they know how much you don't really want to see your car dinged and broken and completely destroyed. So after a while, the parts slowly put themselves back into place. But that won't happen until I stop driving off-road and into some bushes. So yeah, I might be a while waiting for that to fix. Okay, see? It's slowly pushing itself back in. It's almost as if it's like I've got a Wolverine car. No, don't crash. Yay. But that's the thing though. But this game it likes to treat you with the little eye candies and stuff. I mean, I've seen like loads of different things in the skies. You've seen like the stealth planes. You sometimes see air balloons. You see animals. Oh, the animals in this game are well, not amazing because you can't hit them. It sounds a bit cruel, but you can't. You can't hit them. But if you honk your horn, they'll react as the human NPCs do. So as they're walking around, you honk the horn, they run away. Same goes for the animals. If you're nearby them and you honk your horn, they run, which is actually quite cool. Because, and then also sometimes on the like country roads, like I was just driving on, you get certain moments where there's loads of animals all over the environment. Now, as I was saying about the environment, actually, funnily enough, is that as we've travelled from lonely desert to plethora of trees and beautiful things. See, this is what I mean, is that I didn't even really... I did notice at first when we turned off the desert path, but as we go along, you notice that things... Oh, shit. No. Yeah, so... It just looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. As I said, the reflections. If I paused it and I showed you one of these reflections, you'd see how because I'm in free drive, I can't really pause it, but you'll see the reflections are actually reflections. They're not nothing. There is a gripe I do have, however, is the mirrors. Yeah, basically, if you look in the mirror, all you see is a untextured path behind you and a general gist of what scenery you just passed, but never the full thing. You never actually get the actual image. You don't see cars, it's just there. I don't actually think you see you don't see enemy cars, so like enemy races. This game just throws stuff at you. I mean, as I said, we've just gone from lush green forest into winter wonderland, and we're making our way into the mountains, which is one of the best challenges in the game. As I said, I'm going to go to gameplay for that, so that's next week. So I'm trying to stick to visuals. Okay, actually, good thing to talk about while we're in a little town here are the cars. Now, I'm just going to draw your attention to any of the cars on the screen. So, ding ding. You notice as I'm going past them, they are, as I said, exquisitely detailed. They're not just thrown there to go, oh look, we do have other NPCs on here. They actually made sure that they look right. And now we're going to go into an off-road. Now, as I said, the environment also affects the car, so the visual cues, animal, brilliant, running across the road like a startled animal would do, to be honest. Now, as I was saying, the environment affects the cars, so actually the visual cues that you get from the car, from the scenery around you, alerts you to how the car's going to react to going around. So, for example, I'm on a dirt track on a street vehicle in the snow. So I now know that I'm going to have little to no grip when I'm going around a corner. Because one, it's snowy and slippery. Two, it's going to be, it's a dirt track. Street car is not built to survive this. And that's where I will draw on another thing to explain, is the red line that I've been following for most of this game. I'm doing what's known as a free drive challenge. So I've basically set myself a 2-hour race by using 9 checkpoints, and I've spread them around the whole of the game so I can show you it all. Now, the red line is showing me statistics about how I should be driving the car up this road. So at the moment, I should be driving a dirt car because of the red line, or a raid car. Only reason why I say that is because as I'm driving up this hill, that red line will not disappear until I get onto an actual tarmac road, because the street car is not supposed to be off-road or on track. This is a dirt track. It's not supposed to be here. But, as I said, is that this car can handle most things very well. But, again, if I'm on the tarmac, it will go blue. If I'm coming up to a corner that it thinks I'm going too fast for, the corner will show up red, but if I slow down it will slowly turn blue, because then it's indicating how fast I'm going. So the environment isn't just there to entertain you, it's also there to keep you on your toes and actually guide you using visual clues. So for example, as I said, is that it's snowy, it's on a dirt track, this car is not going to have very much grip or very much speed, to be honest. Usually I can max this thing at 190. At the moment it can't do that because it's on a dirt track. It can only max at 140. And to be honest, I'm actually doing quite a good job at driving this thing at the moment, because yes, I've had a few blowouts, but to be honest, I've seen people do worse. Right, as you can see, it keeps flashing blue because it's trying to decide whether I should be doing something or not doing something. So, yeah, it's a feature I like, to be honest. But unfortunately, it is a perk. So when you're doing races, it won't just give you that line. You have to get the perks for it, which is a good way of wiring the visuals into the perks. So, yeah. But see, it's all the bleeps and all the little. Right, since it counts as visuals, I'm just going to go through the heads-up display for you. So, in the last like 5 minutes of this, as I said, I'm going to say this now. The reason why I say, tell you the time every single time I, get onto a new subject or, get towards the end of a video. Shut up. Anyway, so as you're, I say that is because I've got a timer on my phone, so I'm checking on it as I'm going through this. Now, as I said, I've got 6 minutes left, or 5. Anyway, the HUD is very useful in this game. So basically, we're going to start from the top left. Top left, you get and we're going to go along, and then we're going to go for the bottom. So top left, you've got your challenge itself. So what you're actually doing. So at the moment, I know I've got to win the challenge. At the moment, there's no real competition because it's only me doing it. If I had a crew, I'd have to beat them at the race, or come second or third or fourth or fifth, whatever, it doesn't matter. Now, below that it comes the checkpoints and the time. So basically it would go, it says how long you're taking to do it. So for us, it's been as long as 4 hours at one point, 240 minutes, sorry. And then of course it gives you the checkpoints, the amount of checkpoints. So usually maximum I've come across is 116. Then we go in the middle, there's usually a most wanted status. So if you're near a most wanted chase or or you're near cops, it will pop up there and it will say, "Oi, by the way, there's cops nearby, be careful, don't hit anything or you're going to get sodded." And there's a line underneath that which tells you, how close you are to getting nabbed by the cops. Finally, well, yeah, that's about it. And if you are most wanted, it will just change to a couple of stars. 5 stars is the maximum. If it goes red and blue, then you're in for the shit on how many stars it's got. At the bottom, you have your on the left, just below the time and the challenge marker, is the crew list. Usually, you will always appear at the top, and then the 3 other people in your crew, depending, it doesn't matter if they're leader or not, will be below you. The leader will have a crown by their head, obviously, because they're the crew leader. Now, below that will be the speedometer, so it tells you how fast you're going and how many revs you've got. Next to that is the the map with your distance towards your location that you're aiming for. So I've got 7 miles, to get to my destination. You can change that to be kilometers, so don't know why you do that. Anyway, and last but not least, with the line above me, which is now blue as I said it would be, and I'm drifting around most corners now because it's snowy, so I've got to remember that it's going to still have a bit of skid, but at the same time I've got a bit more grip, so I can now speed up to my maximum speed, which is 180, but with a bit of slip on the wheels. And also I love the way the environment affects the car itself. Now, when you're in a crew, your crew leader can set a crew, like a combined waypoint. So when he says, right, we're going here, he can click on it and everyone sees where you're going. So he'll just drive you there. No, he won't drive. He'll lead you all there by using that checkpoint. So you will get there however the hell you want to get there. Basically, you can all use different cars and all different stuff. But the only reason, Only reason why you do that is, if you've got a monster truck, you can go off-road. If you've got a street, blah blah blah. You can all get there in your own way. You don't have to teleport. That will show up in orange, so then it will make a difference. Basically, you'll be able to tell between the two lines above your heads, because one will be navigating you to tell. In Free Drive, by the way, this is what I'm talking about. The orange line means your crewmaster is saying, "This is where we're going." When you're on your own, the blue line is where you've decided you're going. Even in a crew, you can do it yourself, but why would you do that unless you're trying to do something that isn't a part of your crew? So, hey ho. Things in the world are mapped out by like little circles in the ground with an X across it, and with whatever it is poking out of it, like a little pillar. So, for example, if it's a abandoned car, there'll be an X on the floor, and there'll be a beacon saying that this was a hidden car that you discovered. You don't usually get that till you discover them. Then you have like landmarks, which are marked out by basically what would look like one of the monument towers. I can't remember what they're actually called. And then last but not least, you have diamonds are for your story missions, and pentagons are for your PvE missions, and of course you've got a long diamond, which is for your summits. Thank you, and I will see you next week for gameplay.